On July 6, 2026, Cisco updated its advisory for Cisco Identity Services Engine and Cisco ISE Passive Identity Connector with two tracked issues, including CVE-2026-20181, a CVSS 9.1 remote code execution vulnerability, and noted that there are no workarounds available. On July 3, 2026, the UK Information Commissioner's Office told small retailers that data protection law still lets them use personal information, including CCTV footage, to protect staff and premises, while warning that facial recognition carries a high bar because of the risk of wrongful identification. On July 8, 2026, Microsoft said its Secure Future initiative now uses a multi-agent AI system to evaluate live cloud services at AI speed, but still routes findings through human security engineers for validation and implementation. These are three versions of the same leadership problem. The systems you trust to enforce access, protect property, and accelerate operations are now high-trust systems of their own. For SMB leaders, the question is no longer whether these tools are useful. It is whether you can prove who owns them, how quickly they must be patched, what data they can touch, and where a human must still overrule them. First, the tools deciding access can become the attack surface. Cisco ISE and ISEPIC are not ordinary apps. They sit close to identity, policy, and network admission decisions. That is what makes Cisco's July 6th update important. If the platform making access decisions is itself under urgent patch pressure, the leadership risk is not just a server issue. It is a trust issue at the layer that governs who and what gets onto your environment. Cisco's advisory lists two July vulnerabilities in Cisco ISE and ISEPIC, rates the package at CVSS 9.1, and points customers to software updates rather than workarounds. That matters because identity infrastructure is a force multiplier. A weakness in ISE can put a control system at risk rather than just one endpoint, which means the operational blast radius can be broader than the asset count suggests. Many SMBs do not run these systems directly. A partner, MSP, or network integrator may own the day-to-day work, but your business still owns the exposure and the evidence trail. This week, confirm whether your organization or any managed provider runs Cisco ISE or ISEPIC in any environment. Ask for the current version, the fixed release path, and the maintenance window already assigned to the update. Preserve admin and policy change logs before patching, and confirm who has authority to disable or limit access if a patch slips. Second, privacy law does not block crime response, but it does demand discipline. The ICO's July 3rd guidance matters because it corrects a common SMB mistake from both directions. Some leaders assume privacy law blocks practical crime response. Others assume that if theft is rising, any surveillance step is justified. The ICO said neither instinct is strong enough on its own. The regulator cited British retail consortium figures of almost 5.5 million incidents of theft and 43,000 incidents of violence against staff every year across the retail sector. It also said data protection law enables businesses to use personal information, including CCTV footage, to protect the business, its staff, and its premises. The ICO also drew a harder line around facial recognition. It said there is a high bar for lawful use in public places because the data is sensitive and the risk of misidentification is real. The leadership move here is straightforward. Do not treat privacy as a blocker or a blank check. Treat it as an operating constraint that must be designed into your crime response workflow before the next incident lands. Write down what information your team captures, shares, and retains when theft, violence, or repeat shopper incidents occur. Confirm who can access CCTV, who can share clips or names, how long records are retained, and where complaints are routed. Keep facial recognition out of production until you have a written justification, a documented impact review, and named approval authority. Third, AI speed hardening still requires human owners. Microsoft's July 8th post is useful because it does not present AI as a magical replacement for security engineering. It presents AI as a way to evaluate live services faster with more context and at a scale humans struggle to maintain alone. The key detail is what Microsoft kept human. Microsoft described a multi-agent system that evaluates cloud services against secure future initiative requirements. It said the system combines code-level vulnerabilities with configuration, identity, network, and runtime context to assess overall service posture. Most importantly, Microsoft said the system generates findings and recommendations that security engineering teams then validate and implement. That is the pattern worth copying. If your SMB wants AI in security or IT operations, use it first to compress review time and surface evidence faster. Do not let it close findings, change policy, or touch production systems without named human approval. Select one review workflow where AI can propose findings but cannot mark the issue complete. Log what evidence the AI reviewed, who approved the recommendation, and what changed afterward. Expand only after you can measure both the time saved and the quality trade-offs. Trusted systems deserve harder scrutiny, not easier trust. Identity engines, retail surveillance workflows, and AI assisted hardening all sit close to action. That means your next step is not to buy more dashboards. It is to name a patch owner, an evidence owner, and an approval owner for every system that can materially change access, rights, or operations. If you put only one thing on next week's agenda, make it this: which systems in this business can act with trust we have not recently re-earned? Subscribe to access the premium implementation guidance, the Trusted Systems Owner Register, the Retail Crime Privacy Checklist, the Tabletop Exercise, and the AI Hardening Approval Matrix.